Friday favorites. We're going to be talking about keto, and I have a guest that I invited to the show. Her name is Gina Kocher, and I am so excited because when I met her, she mentioned that she was on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I'm on Instagram. Let's check it out. Let's follow each other. And she has like all these followers that, her Instagram has exploded, and she's here with us today. Hi, Gina. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to get to chat with you.
Yes. So we met at a kind of a little meetup that we had, and you started telling me about your Instagram. And tell me how you got started with keto, your keto diet, and what that did for you, and also then explain to everybody how that turned into your Instagram account called Girl Eat Keto.
Okay, yes. So finding keto was kind of a lifelong thing for me. I've struggled with being overweight and food issues for my whole life, for as long as I can remember. So I've tried all the diets, I've done all the things. And so I guess keto was just kind of the answer for me. So I guess my big changing point, I went gluten-free in 2013 for some health issues, and turns out I'm very intolerant to gluten. So that was kind of the first thing that I had, trying to live healthier, I guess, for myself. And along the way, I tried lots of other things, and to some success, but it wasn't until after I'd had my daughter and I kind of really hit rock bottom with regards to my eating. It was, being a new mom is challenging, but I was kind of turning to food to soothe myself and just eating in ways that was not healthy. And so I really realized that, and I realized I need to make a change. So I tried to join a mom's group at my church and try to meet some people. And this one woman came in and was so passionate about keto. She was handing out brochures and everything at lunch with us. And so I was like, well, let me see what this is all about. And she couldn't stop talking about it. So I just kind of dove all in on May 1st. I just decided, you know what, I'm cutting out carbs, cutting out sugar, and maybe this will be it for me. I was so desperate.
Was it just this last May?
It was May of 2018. Yeah, May of 2018. I had my daughter in February. So okay. Yeah, it's been like about a year and a half. And I haven't turned back since. Wow. So I lost 90 pounds in 9 months without doing really anything except limiting carbs. Like no working out, no surgery, like just
90 pounds.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was weight that I've been trying to lose for my whole life. And, I'd been tracking my calories. I'd been doing all the right things, doing low fat. Like nothing worked. And I was just really frustrated and feeling like it was my fault. Like I was a failure. And then I kind of found keto, and it just changed my life. So,
were you already, before you got pregnant, did you already feel like you were overweight, or did you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was. Yeah. And I was starving myself. I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. I got engaged in October of 2016, and basically, or I guess 2015, knowing that my wedding was coming up, and all I wanted to do was just to fit into that wedding dress. And so I just was so severely calorie restricting and just not healthy at all. And I could never, and I guess the biggest thing about keto too is it's changed my confidence and how I love myself too. I've learned to love myself through this process, through this, year and a half that I've been on it. So it's been, and then I started really learning more about ingredients and what I was putting in my body through Whole30. And I did a couple rounds of that. And that really does help with some food hangups and things that I did have. But the problem is it's only 30 days. So I could do it for 30 days. And then when you reintroduce all that sugar,
I was going to say, yeah. What do you think is like the biggest hang up? Like you said, there's, food hang-ups. What do you think is the biggest food hang-up for people?
Well, the food that we're eating now is so full of sugar that even in places you would never know. And I think some people can maybe handle it, but just for me and my body type and who I was, I wasn't able to kind of say no. Like I would, I'd want to eat all the popcorn, like not just a small amount. It was like I'd eat the whole family size, popcorn bag, and food for me was, I'm from an Italian family. My dad and my grandfather, like everyone in my family has owned grocery stores. Like it's all, my whole life it's been about food and celebrations. And I don't think that's necessarily bad, but when you're celebrating every day, with food, it tends to really to catch up with you. And I read a book by Gary Taubes called Why We Get Fat, and it really changed my life also and I read that right when I started keto, because he really talks about how, when our ancestors and things they were hunters and gatherers, they would eat an apple, but like maybe once a year. But because we have access now to sugary things all the time, our bodies can't really keep up with it. So it's just a lot of different science that goes behind it, and that I'm just starting to now understand.
Yeah.
So it's been just a great journey, the last year and a half, I guess. And my whole family's taken it with me. My husband eats keto. Both my parents eat keto. It's been amazing.
Wow. It's hard to limit ourselves, and it's hard to say we're just going to have like, a little bit of something, and then we end up eating, like the whole bag. And it's a lifestyle. And I love that you said that now you're loving yourself more, like you care more about what you're doing and how you're, what you're putting in your mouth. And I love that. Yeah. I do a little bit of everything. I have not done, Whole30 per se. Yeah, no, I haven't done Whole30, but I'm interested in it. But about, let's see, January of this year, my husband and I did like this 10-day, no sugar, no carbs, I think it was. And there was a third thing, and I can't remember might have been dairy, but something else. And well, he did no dairy because he is vegan. So he was doing no dairy, but it really kind of kicked out that desire for sugar. And I was just amazed how much better I felt, how much clearer headed I felt, and more energy.
Yes.
And then I just started from there kind of reading more about keto, and then more about paleo, which is a totally different way of eating. And then more about, read the book, The Plant Paradox, which it's so different and it's so scientific, and it talks more about lectins. And I can't even grasp my brain around it, but I do think that it's very similar in that, he says, we'd eat seasonally. We should be eating seasonally. So like not always eating apples, and not always eating berries, and not always eating the things that are at the grocery store. Because now we have like a plethora of things, at the grocery store, but it's, we should just be eating, more seasonally. Anyway, I like that. And I like paleo, what's the difference between paleo and keto?
So that's a really good question. And I think also what you were saying is there's so many different ways, and you kind of just have to find out what works best for you and your body. And so keto is a metabolic state, which means you're completely changing what your body is using for fuel. So rather than running on carbohydrates, you're running on the fat that's in your body, and you're running on the fat that you're eating. So because it's a metabolic state that you can actually test, you can get keto meters and things like that, you have to limit your carbohydrates. Where on paleo or Whole30, it's kind of like unlimited fruits and vegetables, which are great if you can kind of handle it. But for me, when I was eating Whole30, I was having like 2 sweet potatoes a day, because I was trying to kind of fill that, which will not kick you out of ketosis for sure. So also with paleo, it does restrict a lot of the same things that keto does. So it's no grains, no legumes, and no processed sugar, but it also eliminates dairy. And keto you can do keto without dairy, but it's definitely, dairy is suggested, for the cheese. You don't have to do it with dairy. I know some people do it without, but and I actually did a whole month of keto without dairy.
Wow.
But I enjoy it much more with the cheese and different things like that. So also with keto, you try to typically follow some macronutrient breakdowns. So which would be your fat content is usually within 60 to 80%. And it's more of a lower protein. The protein is usually recommended from 20 to 30%. I typically eat a little bit higher protein than some people do for keto, but that's just what's worked for me in my body. And then the carb breakdown, which will come from mostly whole foods, is what I try to do from fruits and vegetables, is only about 5 to 10% of what you're eating a day. So it definitely is different in that way, where it's more of a scientific approach. Some people will track everything they put in their body so they can really carefully track their macros every day. I kind of do a little bit of a hybrid where sometimes I track and sometimes I don't. I don't really need to anymore because I know what I'm putting in my body and can kind of mentally calculate it. But keto is also used for treatment for a lot of different health conditions. Things like epilepsy is really where they first started keto, is doctors were prescribing it for their patients with epilepsy. Yeah, and that's when it first started getting really kind of published in journals. And so people use it for insulin resistance, migraines, diabetes. There's a lot of, once you start researching, there's a lot of different things that people are healing their body with keto. So, and I've had some of those benefits as well. I have always struggled with severe IBS, and it was helped with cutting out gluten for me, but I haven't had any of the issues that I've been suffering with my whole life from starting keto.
Wow.
Which has been life-changing, for me. So a lot of people ask, like, oh, are you ever going to stop, keto? And, because I've maintained my weight now for over half a year.
Wow.
Within 5 pounds, which I've never been able to do before. But, I feel so amazing. Like what you were saying, increased energy, mental clarity. I'm able to kind of play on the floor with my daughter, where that was kind of my rock bottom when she wanted to kind of play on the ground. I was uncomfortable sitting down, and I had no energy for her. And I was able to kind of realize, this is so much bigger than just what I'm putting into my body. This is how I'm treating myself. And so,
do you think that now that you are maintaining, are you giving yourself permission to do, to kind of have, I don't know, a donut every now and then? Or ChickfilA. I was like, does she ever miss ChickfilA? I mean, you can have the chicken, I guess, without the breading.
You would be surprised. People ask me that all the time. And it's a complicated issue. One being, like what you said, once you feel so good, and you kind of, in a Whole30 terms, they say you slay your sugar dragon, which means you don't really crave it as much anymore because you're not used to eating it as much. In the whole year, over a year and a half that I've been doing this, I've only not eaten keto just less than a handful of times, just for 1 or 2 meals here or there. I really miss the feeling that I have. And so, I have started gradually adding in more ice cream, and that is keto approved. There's a lot of really great things that you can eat that are low sugar. I make a lot of my own stuff now. So I make my own cake, and I have desserts all the time, but they're just keto desserts. So I definitely, when I was trying to lose weight, I was so focused on, because you still have to watch your calories, when you're trying to, you can't eat all of the things. So I was no desserts because I was so focused. But now that I've been within the same weight and where I want to be, I'm definitely adding in, I had some chocolate chip cookies last night, but they're made with almond flour, and the chocolate chips are sugar-free, so there's a lot of different options for me to make it more of a lifestyle. So
yeah, I need that recipe. That would be, you need to do a cookbook. Well, let's start talking about our favorites, since this is the Friday favorite show. I want to like we can just kind of go back and forth. I want to tell you one of my, so mine are going to be a bit more to the plant paradox because that's what I've been doing. And I'm not sure, you'll have to tell me if this is keto approved as well. So like pistachios.
Yeah. So there are a lot of great options for nuts. You just kind of have to watch your portions with them because they do have carbohydrates. So like we'll eat pistachios and things like that, but just in a small, kind of weigh them out or kind of just mentally know like, hey, that's an ounce. Like
22 or 12
exactly.
or whatever. Yeah. So my favorites are, I do love my, the salt and pepper pistachios are my favorite.
Okay.
And then my other favorite is it's the Terra brand chips, and they are the cassava chips. So cassava being it's a root for those who don't know. I didn't know what it was either, but I was like, I'll just eat it if it's approved.
Yeah.
Because I was eating, my other favorite, which I've already shared on the show, is the siete cassava flour tortillas, because that's, I'm Mexican and I've got to have my tortillas. So that was the way to do it. And then now Siete's come out with taco shells. So I'm really excited to try those. So
I think they have some almond flour stuff too. I've seen a lot of people, there's a lot of different almond flour. And so, you just always kind of have to check with keto because a lot of times it'll say like coconut flour. So you think that it'll be keto approved, but it's not.
It's not.
So they add other things in to make it higher carbs.
Have you heard of those? I think they're called Suzie muffins. I believe they're made with almond flour. No sugar. They are sweetened with maple syrup.
Okay, so that's probably a little bit higher carb than what I would probably.
So maple syrup, because it's maple syrup, that is a carb.
Yes, I know it's confusing, and honey as well is one of the things that is, it's a sugar. Same thing with like cane syrup, things like that. But there are syrup replacements that are sugar-free that are easy to get at just a local grocery store. So there's definitely lots of great options. And companies, I think because keto, I know it's become so popular because it's working for people so well. I mean, like what you're talking about with Instagram, there's a huge community of people that are all supporting each other and helping each other because it's the first time that we all feel like something's actually worked for us. And and so a lot of companies are starting to realize there's that need. And so they're coming out with amazing products, which I'm just starting to dip my toe in to try different things. Cause basically I did keto the whole time with just whole foods, just with, I didn't buy really anything. And so it's definitely doable without buying anything because I know there's some misconceptions that it's expensive, but it's not.
Yeah, because you can have your meat and vegetables. That's really like the main thing. And
eggs.
And so easy. And cheese, super
easy.
It's kind of the same thing with, the plant paradox. People give it a bad rap because they're like, oh, you're consuming so much meat. Well, you don't have to consume that much meat. I mean, there's a lot of vegetables to be eaten and, dairy and things like that. So, So there's a variety and can definitely doesn't have to be expensive. Although I am willing to pay someone big money to get keto bread. So I'm ready for that. Now I heard there was a keto bread at Aldi.
Yes, lots of people are really into that. Yes,
I can't find it in my store. Were you able to find it?
Well, and there is gluten in that. So I kind of have to be a little bit more strict there are a lot of great low carb wraps. There's lavash bread. There's all these different things, but I can't eat them. And unless it's made with like coconut flour, there are some, like there's a I just recently found them locally to me. They're called Smart Buns, and they are at my local nutrition store.
Yes.
And they are literally magic. Like, I was so excited because I have not had a hamburger bun in almost a decade, like that I actually liked. And they're only like 72 calories, I think, and zero net carbs. So, I mean, it's amazing to have. So those kind of products are coming out to really kind of save my life and make this more of a lifestyle, because it's not reasonable for me to think that I'll never have a hamburger bun again. And they have cakes that are, I think, like 35 calories for a cake.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of good things like that coming out.
So when you see something new, just like read the label and see how many carbs. You're looking for carbs and then ingredients.
Yeah, and it's a little bit confusing at first. And so that's why the Instagram community has been so helpful, because how I kind of got started was I would just watch other Instagrammers and see what they were eating and then just kind of copy them. Yeah. So that's why, because like for me, I take a picture of every single thing that I put in my mouth and I will put it on my stories. And so it's just helpful for people to know, okay, these are okay because I'm putting it in my body, things like that.
That's good. So what are your favorites? I know you probably have a long list.
I do. Well, one thing I'm really loving right now is it's called Sous Vide cooking. I don't know if you've heard of it or seen me do it.
I have heard of it, yes.
So it's just a precision cooker that there's different types that have it. I got mine on Amazon. The Innova brand is what I'm just using because I've had mine for about 4 years, but I use it all the time. And so it's impossible with the sous vide cooking to really overcook your meat. So you vacuum seal it or put it in like a Ziploc bag, and then you put it in water and you cook it. And it's been amazing. And it's really good, especially now that I have a daughter who's a full-on toddler running around the house. I can just throw it in the water and kind of like set it and forget it and not have to worry about my dinner. So
what does that do to the food? Does it just make it taste better, or it just is temperature controlled? What's the magic?
Yeah, so if you go to like a nice steakhouse, there's a very good chance that how they're cooking your steak is with a sous vide. So it basically you can cook things and prep them ahead of time, and then like I can keep my steak in the water bath for a couple hours. And then whenever I want to eat, I just take it out and put it on a cast iron to kind of crisp it up. So I'll do pulled pork for 2 days. Like it gets really moist, and it's just a fun kind of way. It's really fun when you have guests over too, because most people haven't seen them. But they used to be like French. It's been a French cooking technique for a long time, and it used to just be available in restaurants. And now the machines are getting really affordable. So a lot of people can get them.
Yes. I was at a conference and I met the owner and the inventor of, I think it's called like I'm just botching it up because I'm just doing it on the fly. But she and her husband developed a sous vide.
Cool. Yeah, there's lots of different companies that have them now, and it's just a technique basically. So that's one thing I've been loving. And my dad and I have been doing this together for about 4 years, and so we've just started kind of videotaping ourselves sous videing different things. So it's been like a fun project for my dad and I. So.
Do you have a YouTube account?
Yes, we just started it, and we're just basically, I'll do Instagram lives about once a week, and I'll save those, but then also just doing technique videos, because, my dad's been in the food industry his whole career, and so he has lots of little nuggets to share, so it's been really fun to have a little
project with him. Little family business that you're doing. It's a new family business. Yeah. What else are you loving?
So I recently, for my lunches, I intermittent fast, which is, I could talk about that for another whole episode. I love that.
And which that means just that you're limiting the time of day that you are consuming food.
Exactly. Perfect.
So for those who don't know, they say that your body needs to rest from digesting.
And it helps with cell regeneration. It has been shown, a lot of people have talked about how it's improving chances of Alzheimer's and things like that I have some family history of. And I just feel like I still haven't eaten yet, and it's 1 o'clock, which is crazy for me
Wow.
because
Mm-hmm.
I normally would have never thought I would be the type of person who would do that. But, I've been in keto for so long, I'm just not hungry. So that's been amazing. So for lunch every day, basically, I've been having a chaffle, which is kind of a new keto rage. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically, you take a waffle maker, and they have smaller waffle makers now, like the Dash brand has them. And you put shredded cheese, and then you put scrambled eggs on top of that, and then shredded cheese, and you close your waffle maker, and it creates like a bread substitute. And so I've been loving and eating every day for lunch. I have like this egg puff thing that I like to make, that I just microwave eggs, and it puffs up into like kind of like what a McDonald's egg kind of looks like, but puffier. Mm-hmm. And then I put that between chaffle, and that's what I've been eating every day. It's just so filling and satisfying.
It looks really good. I have seen it on your stories. Can you do, I guess, a version of like egg salad? Is that something
like putting an egg salad in there? Put it in the waffle maker?
Can you do an egg? Well, no, I'm just saying, can you eat? Is that a keto approved thing?
Oh, yeah.
Egg salad.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. I eat
with
that
just
a lot.
the mayo. So just getting mayonnaise that isn't that doesn't have sugar, because for those of you who don't know, they put sugar in everything. They put sugar in ketchup.
Everything.
You would be surprised what you have sugar in, and I mean, it's crazy.
A lot of seasonings.
Yes.
And I guess I should say people keto differently. Some people do not ingredient restrict, and so if there's sugar in their mayonnaise, in their keto, they'll still eat it and still be super successful. Yeah. So some people aren't as strict as others. I just try to kind of watch what I put in my mouth, my body, just because that's just been more important for me.
And it's whatever it, I feel like they should follow you and check out, how to do it if they don't know how to do keto, but also, it, like you said, everybody's different, and some people are more restrictive than others, and some people know their bodies. Like for myself, I know when I can, have, kind of cheat and get, but then I'm just like, okay, well, that's enough. Whereas before, there wasn't the talk, the self-talk, like that's enough. There wasn't that self-talk. But now it's a little bit more like, oh yeah, well, that was not as healthy as I want to be. So I'm going to go back to doing what I normally do and what makes me feel better. And just, and, I know you probably agree with this, like knowing how you feel and feeling the way you do, how great you feel. Like when you kind of, for those of you who are like me and kind of go outside of that, you start to feel like my joints start hurting if I have sugar. Like I was at a party and I had like a piece of cake. And then the next day, actually that night, I was just like, my joints were aching, and I was like, wow, it gets into your bloodstream so quickly.
Yeah, you're so true. I totally agree with that. And it's funny, a lot of people who follow me on Instagram do not do keto. And which is I'm totally fine with. Like everyone is finding what works for them, and I love that. And it's just a great community of people who want to support each other. And I share, motivational quotes or things that are inspiring me every day. And it's not necessarily all about keto. So it's just literally what I put into my body. There's more to it, and I think that I'm really obsessed with personal development and personal growth, and I try to share a lot of that stuff on my Instagram as well.
Yeah, and I like that you have the water challenge.
Yes,
making people drink more water. Exactly, I love it. Like I was in Atlanta and I was like watching your stories. And I was like, oh, gotta find some water. And I was looking for. I'm so
glad it worked.
Yes, I was sat there. I didn't have my water bottle, but I sat there with the little cup I was at a hotel with the little cup at the water fountain, just like drinking a bunch.
And the things that I try to share are things that really can help everyone. Things like moving your body, self-care stuff, because that's what is really important. Like what you eat is important, but how you think about yourself and the connections you have with people, are really important. And, I'm working out for the first time in my life. I never thought I would be working out, but because it's like I just chose to stick with something, I'm just going to stick with keto. And then it, opened up my door to like, okay, now I can, do working out and try different things. And I mean, if you would have told me that I would purposely, be missing a meal or not hungry, like a couple of years ago, I would never have believed you.
Yeah, isn't that something? But you feel satisfied, and I feel like you're getting all your nutrients.
Right.
Do you take vitamins as well?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and that's one of the things I'm loving right now, is electrolytes.
Okay.
There's lots of different companies that sell them, and it's kind of just like a mixture, like a powder that you put into your drinks. I personally have been using like Key Nutrients just because it seems to be the best value I can find. So I do take like regular multivitamins, but with keto in general, you are flushing out a lot of fat in your body, and you really electrolytes are important. I did it without purchasing electrolytes for a while, and I would just do like Himalayan pink salt. Like there are ways you can do it, and you can research, but basically you need more potassium, magnesium, and sodium. So there's ways to do it, but I just recently have been loving. It's kind of like a great way to get some water into. So yeah, I think supplements are really important for keto as well, but it's very affordable. It doesn't have to be expensive. So
Yes, and just as a disclaimer to everyone listening, please make sure you check with your doctor.
Yes, I was gonna
we
say
are
that.
not experts,
Yes.
we are not medical experts, but we are sharing what we have done.
Exactly.
But you need to check with your doctor to make sure before you get on any kind of diet or like eliminate things or add things, just to kind of make sure that you're doing the right thing for your body. So yeah. Anything else? I did want to tell you, I was so excited. In fact, I got a text from this place before before we started this interview. Is Blaze Pizza, which is just down the road from me, has a new keto crust.
I've heard about that. People in
We
the
need
keto
to check
community
it
were
out.
excited about. Yeah, we should go. That would be really fun.
Yeah. So is that good? Is that a good, has
I've
someone
heard people
vetted it yet?
Yeah, people have liked it and loved it. Different things. I'm always careful. I was at my gym the other day and they had keto approved smoothies. And so I just went to check and I said, "Oh, do you have the nutrition facts?" They were like, "Yeah, we do." And so I looked into it, and just for the small size was 88 net carbs, which
Whoa.
I eat under 20 net carbs in a day. So I was like, 88 for a smoothie? And you said it's keto approved? Like, so you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And I think it's just always important to look at what's in something, because there's no official label, like, organic, they have to follow certain rules and guidelines, and that's vetted by, the federal government. But
Yes.
to say something's keto, anyone can kind of say anything's keto. So
Yeah.
you gotta be careful.
Well, I'm glad that the keto community has vetted that and is approving of the Blaze Pizza, because I'm so excited to get that. Just because that's one of the things. And I love that on your Instagram that you, that on your stories in your account, that you do things that kind of, I don't feel like you go without. Like the other day was, chicken pot pie day, and it's like you found a way to make that work for you. Cheeseburger day or whatever, pizza day. So we don't want to miss out. I mean, I think that's what people they have that FOMO, and they don't want to miss out on things like, but, I know what else I was going to share is like, Americans, we are so, like, there's always like a holiday or a birthday, and it's all around food. And so you were saying like, we just have to be vigilant like you are, where it's, I've seen you taking, like a small cake that you can have to like a special occasion.
Yes.
So I love that, because that's, it's always somebody's birthday. It's
Exactly.
always a
There's always
holiday.
something. Yeah.
It's always an easy way to cheat, but you can't always do it because you'll be like we would be cheating every day. It was always something, you know?
Yeah. And I've learned a lot over the last year and a half. Like last year, I went to the Air Force Ball with my husband, and everyone had cake, and they cut it with a sword. It was like this big deal, and I was just sitting there like, I can't believe I can't eat. I can't eat this. And so it's this coming weekend, and so I'm bringing my own cake in my purse, and for my husband and I. And it's like, I've learned that I don't want to go without, but I don't really. This is such a lifestyle that I've just found ways to make it work. And my cake will not have any sugar. Like I'll still feel great after it. Won't get tired after I eat it. So
yeah,
it's been a huge learning change for me.
Yeah. So two more good things, fun things. I do want to know what cookbook you recommend and maybe share one other favorite that you have.
Ooh, okay. That's a good question about cookbooks. I love cookbooks. I totally believe in buying cookbooks over other things because, it's like $20 and it feeds you for a long time. So one kind of fun thing right now, one cookbook that's called Southern Keto, and it's by Natasha Newton. It's amazing. And all the things that are in there are ingredients that I basically have in my house at all times. So it's really easy to follow. I'm cooking every single recipe in it by the end of the year. So I'm kind of doing like a Julia thing where I'm almost finished. I've made everything in there, and I have not found a recipe yet that I haven't loved.
Are you videotaping them, or are you like sharing on?
I'm sharing on my Instagram stories when I try them and make them. I should have, when I started doing it, I didn't even have an Instagram account. So I should have did more videos with it. But yeah, it's a really great cookbook. And then there's a new cookbook that I really like for people who have an Instant Pot. That's all keto recipes. It's family friendly keto Instant Pot. It's by Keto and Pearls. Her name is Anna, and it just released this week, and I've been loving that too. And I'm gonna buy it for my sister, and she doesn't even do keto, but she is trying to use her Instant Pot more because it's like it's an expensive appliance, and I never really used it before this cookbook. So that's another one I'm loving. And okay, so you wanted my cookbook. Did you want me to say any of the things?
One last favorite.
Ooh. Another favorite. Well, book-wise right now, my favorite book I'm going through is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. I love all her books, and I read it before, but I'm reading it again with new eyes because it's been a couple of years. So I'm loving that book, and a couple of my friends and I on Instagram, that are also into personal development and stuff are, talking about it, and we're going to do a live about it in October. So every month I try to pick a different book and then just kind of go on Instagram Live to talk about it because I love personal growth, and I think it's really important to always be kind of, reaching for more or just kind of learning about yourself that way. So that's something else that I'm loving.
I love that. I like that you are into just expanding and doing your personal growth. That's awesome. I love all of these things. And if people want to hear more, they can find you at Girl Eat Keto on Instagram. Are you on Twitter?
I haven't done a Twitter yet. I do have a Facebook group that's the same, Girl Eat Keto. And then I have my YouTube channel. And then I have a blog also, which I have recipes. Everything's, free, obviously, posted. And they can also follow my Instagram on girleatketo.com.
And if they want to know more, they can go on girleatketo.com, and you have like a link to your Amazon store that has a plethora of all the things that are keto, and I'm excited. So I'll be checking those out for sure.
Yeah, and I always answer every message I get on Instagram. Every single person that reaches out. So I'm always here to help. It's like my passion and my life project. So yeah, definitely reach out if you're interested at all in keto or anything else that I talk about.
Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It's fun.